perfect cable for that one.
And I happen to have one because I hoard.
But you didn't use it right?
No.
I guess.
No. Nope.
Yes.
So, welcome to another video here. I am with my friend Paul, the fantastic sound engineer I was referring to in my previous video. And today he's gonna break down some serious knowledge about cables and everything we need to know to set up a good sound. But from here, I'm gonna pass it over to him so my ignorance doesn't come true so strongly.
Yeah, thank you, Ali. So, welcome, peoples. We just do a small video about different cable types, how we can use them in audio world to get really good and strong signals. When I'm working with amateurs, I always notice that this is a really big issue because people just don't know about these different types of cables and why they are different. I mean, we have cables like this one, everyone knows to connect your stereo. Then we have cables like that one, which maybe we don't even know what it's for.
Exactly.
We have also cables like this one we maybe know for connecting microphones to our system. And then we have some cables like these which have 3 rings here. We have cables like these who have 2 rings here. This one only has 1 ring. What exactly are these rings even for? We have cables like this, which is not even an audio cable, but maybe still can carry some audio sometimes. So big confusion on this, and we just want to shed some light into this topic and yeah, just try to maybe clear some questions also.
Yes, please.
First of all, what are the problems which we can have in the setup regarding different types of cables? So first of all, of course, there is noise problems. So we notice some weird buzzing or humming noises in our setup sometimes, and this most of the time has to do something with using the wrong type of cables. Also, of course, sometimes we try to plug in cables from A to B and think that we should get a signal, but we are noticing that there is no signal at all, and we just don't know why. And oftentimes this is also because we are just using the wrong type of cable. And the worst thing of all for amateurs, in my experience, is that if you use so oftentimes you plug in a cable from A to B, and it just works, you get a signal. But if you don't use the right type of cable, it oftentimes just works, but you are still losing some quality. You're still losing some quality. And without even noticing, because you just don't know, it could be way better when using the right type of cable. Yeah. So I will try to explain what kind of different cables we have and how to use the right ones in the right situations. Basically, there are 2 principles of different cables what we can break down the whole process to, and this would be balanced versus unbalanced connection. I will show 2 examples for this. So this cable, I don't know, I hope you can see it, maybe I put it here. This cable is an unbalanced cable. You can see this unbalanced always, it only has 2 connectors, like one would be the ground and one would be the signal. Ground is something you electrically always need for carrying an electrical signal, and signal, of course, is your signal. The balanced connection, you can see that maybe in here, has 3 electrical connectors. So that would be 1, 2, 3. One would be again the ground, which you need, and the 2 others will carry kind of the same signal. So this is really important to know because it is not the same than stereo. This cable has 3 connectors. When we look at normal headphones, which is it is an unbalanced signal, it has 3 connectors also, but we are carrying two signals here, left and right. With this one, we are only carrying one signal and also have three electrical connectors. So this is oftentimes being mixed up. So balanced and unbalanced. Why do we even have these two types? This has some historical reasons. Back in the days when big sound systems were pretty new and we came to this situation that we got bigger PAs, so bigger loudspeakers for more people. People came into the problem of big cable length because we had the first festivals coming up, which is of course really nice music, big stages, and we had to carry the signals from the mixing desk, which was like hundreds of meters maybe away from the stage to the stage and back and forth. During that time, there was only these unbalanced signals being used. This balanced stuff was not invented during that time. So if we have unbalanced signal, then we always have the problem of the introducing of electrical noise when the cable length is getting bigger and bigger. Because we have this frequencies running through the air from our cell phones, from our whatever electrical stuff. So there is much things going on into the air, and all these goes into the cable. There is some shielding in the cable which prevents these noises from interfere with our signal. But the longer this cable gets, the more this will destroy our signal, so to say. When we had this situation back in the days of really big cable length, we had to find people had to find some solutions. So they invented this, which is a balanced signal. I will try to make a drawing where I maybe can explain to you the difference between balanced and unbalanced. Okay, so before we get into this really exciting topic, there's a little disclaimer. So everything I do now and all the information is pretty much simplified for you to keeping it short and compact. So it is not exact, but you should get the idea of that one. Okay, so let's look at our signal again. So if we say we do have a nice audio signal like that, and we have our noise. So for example, the noise is coming here as a peak. So this peak will add, as I said, to our audio signal. So our audio signal will look like this. This is not what we want, of course. We just want our nice audio signal and not this noise. So what we have in our symmetrical cable is we have one more connector here. And what this does is it takes the signal and flip the face on it. So it looks roughly like this. And of course, this one is also just a electrical cable connection. So what happens to this connection also is that this noise is being added. So okay, what we have in symmetrical now is these two signals. One is phase inverted. So what happens on the input stage then is that these two are being combined. So what happens if we add these two? We just do it like this. What happens if we add these two is the signal which we want to use is cancelling out. So if I add this one to this one, there's just nothing. But what we have still is this one and this one. If we add the noise, then it's added and it's doubled. So when we electrically add these two signals, we are just left with doubled noise. So what we can do now is we have the signal with the noise and we have only the noise. So maybe you can imagine that there is some kind of electrical schematic on the input stage, which can now remove this noise because we have it on a separate kind of like channel, or we have it separated from the signal. We can remove that one from our signal. So in the end, with this magic electrical input stage thingy happening there, we only have our signal again. So what this kind of thing can do, the balanced cable, is that it filters out the noise from our signal. Pretty nice. Okay, so now we have seen that there is this really fancy invention of balanced audio signals. We can imagine that people back in the days were really happy in having the task of running these really long cable lengths. And now they were able to get really good sound quality without any noise from stage to the mixing desk. Yeah, so this is a really nice thing, and until today we use this technology. In professional audio world, only balanced signals are used, because this is like the professional audio quality signal type. So let's get to the advantages and disadvantages of balanced and unbalanced again. So the advantage of balance, as I showed, is first of all that it cuts out all the electrical noise which is coming into the cable through the air. We don't have that in an unbalanced world. So when we use an unbalanced connection, an unbalanced cable which has only this one connector for the signal and not the two, then when we run into longer cable length, and with longer I mean like more than 10 meters, and we use bad quality cables which don't have, this one is a pretty good unbalanced cable. It has a strong shielding, it is a thick one. If we use cables like these standard cables we have with our consumer audio thing at home, and then these are really thin, and also the connectors are really cheap. And so you can imagine that if we use this cable for like 20 meters, it will introduce some noise. This is not always the case. It can be possible that this just works and there is no hearable difference if we use the balanced or an unbalanced thing. But technically, this one is the way superior than this one. And this will come to the part which I said before. We are losing some kind of quality without noticing, probably. And there are cases when we are in a surrounding where there is, for example, outside there is a radio wave tower outside in front of our house or something like this. There is some strong things happen in the air, and there it could be that it's hearable even.
Right.
Okay, so no noise, the noise is filtered out, and the cable length does not matter, which is an advantage. Yeah, so to sum things up, we should use balanced connections whenever possible. Okay, now that we know what balanced and unbalanced is, Ali, we maybe do a quick test whether you got this information right. I throw some cables at you and you just tell me whether this would be an unbalanced or an unbalanced cable. Let's start with this one.
So
when you have these adapters, you have to look on both sides, of course.
yeah, so this side definitely has a balancing feature, and this side 1, 2, 2, then this should also be balanced,
Right.
because the other one had only one.
Yeah.
Balanced, decent protection, and
Which
very
does
short.
not matter so much in balanced world, because even if the cable was a bit cheaper and does not have so much shielding, noise will be just filtered out.
Perfect.
So this one would be fully balanced on both sides.
Yeah, and this one would be, for example, great for connecting the in-ear monitor to our sound system.
For example, yeah.
1 point.
1 point for Ali. Nice. So let's go on with that one. Everyone knows this one also.
Yes, so this is not balanced, and as you pointed out, it's very cheap connectors, but it is stereo instead, because there's 2 lines, not because it's balanced, but because there's 2 of these. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Ha. And very cheap. Yes.
I would like to point something out here, because this is oftentimes being mixed up. If we just look at this side, then we could assume that this one is balanced, because it is the same than this one. This is just basically the same electrical thing. If we look at this side, what do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3. This one is also a connector.
Ah, okay.
1, 2, 3, 3. So this is the 3, the ground is split to both sides. And here we have our 2 connections. We could make an adapter which is going from here to here. And then also we have 1, 2, 3 here and 1, 2, 3 here. So what I want to say, or also we could make that one into that one. So there are adapters and all kinds of things. And we could, of course, use this cable as a stereo cable also.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
That would be, you would need an adapter to split those channels then.
Yes,
okay.
right. So what is the important thing to look at is this cable suitable of carrying balanced signals from one side to the other? And this one is suitable because it has 3 on the one side and 3 on the other side.
Right.
This one is not suitable for that because you have 3 on one side, but on this side where you connect it, you only have 2. Here you have 2 and here you have 2, but you need 3 to have it balanced.
Right.
So this is a balanced connector, but you can also call this a stereo connector because, as you correctly pointed out, this would be left, right, and ground. And then it is split, but it could be balanced also on this side. But on this side, it is split to 2 times unbalanced.
Right. And if we, for example, want to have stereo sound, we actually plug 2 of these in. One for the left channel, one for the right channel.
In balanced world,
In
yes.
balanced world, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Let's throw an easy one. What about this one? I think you got the idea now.
Yes, not balanced, but still a decent cable. This one has a ground and this one channel. Do you call it channel?
Yeah, you can call it channel for making things easy. So I got a special one for you, Ali, for the last one.
The last
what about
one.
this one?
Oh, so this one has 1, 2, 3 plus ground. And
Here you don't see it, but it's the same.
okay, it's the same thing there. And this one,
What do you use this cable for? You know that one.
I would use this to be able to get sound. Actually, I bought it and I never managed to work it the way I intended it to, so I got confused what it is for.
Okay,
It's supposed to be for mobile phone something. And I'm just gonna take a guess. I want to say it's balanced because of the tree, but at the same time I'm wondering if one of them is just a microphone.
Yeah, so I'm gonna explain this.
Yes.
This one is a special one. It is unbalanced. I mean, the purpose of it is unbalanced. You can't say it's unbalanced. It can also be balanced if you use the right ones on the right connections on both sides. It has the electrical needs we would need for making it balanced. 3 here at least. I mean, it's 4 actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. But if we only use 3 of them, then we could make a balanced connection. And here it also has 4. So if we could use this as a balanced cable, but it's not intended for that. It is indeed intended for these combo jacks we have on smartphones or on laptops, where we have one jack which carries stereo unbalanced sound, which goes to our headphones. Plus one signal for microphone, unbalanced microphone input.
Okay.
So we have ground here, then we have one of these connectors for the microphone, unbalanced, because if it was balanced, then we would need 2 for the microphone. So unbalanced microphone input and 2 unbalanced outputs for our headphone jacks.
For the stereo jack, okay.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a special cable.
That's what it is.
Nice, Ali. Really good. So, should we move on?
We should move on.
Okay, so now that we saw that balance is nice and unbalanced is not so nice, we can just ask ourselves the questions, why the hell, I mean, this technology is 40, 50 years old now. Why the hell do we still have unbalanced connections? And that has 2 reasons. Actually, it's only one reason. The reason is that it's way more expensive. Because, first of all, these balanced connectors space. So if you imagine there would be a stereo of this one, a stereo signal of this one needs like these kind of spaces in the units.
Yeah.
You can't use this size 2 times in a smartphone or in a laptop. Of course, you could build like small adapters, but still you would have like kind of these sizes. So size doesn't matter in price of production. So that's one reason. The other reason is that you always need the electronical input stage for making the balanced magic happen.
You need to unbox that a little bit.
Okay, so remember the drawing.
Yeah.
We add on output stage where the signal comes from, we have the task that the signal has to be split into two and being phase inverted. So there has to be some electrical schematic for making that happen, first of all. And then we carry the signal through our expensive cable. After that, there has we have the task on input stage to like combine these, to filter out the noise, which we extracted from these two things, and then remove that extracted noise from the signal and have only the strong signal without noise anymore. So this is like a electrical thing which has to happen on input stage for making the balanced connection work. That costs money.
Yeah.
So that's why on consumer world we do still have unbalanced signals, because on consumer world we don't need, like in a festival situation, 200 meters of cable length. We only need 5 meters or something like this, and there it's totally fine to use unbalanced signals. It's cheap, it works just fine.
Yeah.
But if we get professional in a way, then we should take the money to go balanced.
Yeah.
Because, as we pointed out, this is just better quality.
Yeah. And I'm thinking if the devices we do have the opportunity to go balanced, that would be a good another good situation to choose balanced, because at the scale of what we do in a dance studio or for the online Zoom sessions, the investment different. By the time the equipment can do it, the difference between this cable and an unbalanced cable is maybe 10 euros or something like that, and then it's worth just go for the balanced cable.
It is worth noticing that in some situations you don't have the choice. You have to go unbalanced in a way. For example, if you have to use the microphone input of your or the audio input of your laptop, this is just unbalanced. Yeah. So there is no way to use balanced connections there, because the input cannot handle balanced connections. So if you want to go balanced, then you would need something like this, which, for example, would be a professional USB sound card, which you plug in by USB, and there you have your nice balanced input connections, and also here you see 3 your nice balanced output connections also. One thing to notice, this is jack, but still balanced. You remember it has 3, and they use it for safe space there. If you are unsure whether this is balanced, because you don't see it, you don't see whether these have 3 connectors or 2 connectors inside. It could be possible that it's just for this cable. If you are unsure, just read the manual. It is written there.
And in fact, for example, when I bought the in-ear monitor ones, this is an in-ear wireless monitor. So as dancers, then we can listen to the music and hear our participants in high quality in our ear without having cable connection, without being attached to a table through the cable. And it comes with nice balance plugs, but this is the cable they sent with the package. This is what I got with it. And I was very confused about that. I mean, we have to point that out. Many manufacturers, I mean, the more professional you go, the better it gets. But I mean, the manufacturers also want to keep prices low. And this is something to state on this point. This is a pretty short cable. It has, as I pointed before, it has a strong shielding. So at least they put an unbalanced one with a strong shielding. And if you use that one, I mean, the normal thing you would do with these 2 devices would be to connect
the output of the sound card into your wireless monitor system, and then it goes wireless to your ear. So what you would do is take a cable, a short one, like this one we have here, which is pretty short, put it on the output here somewhere, and then put it into the input of the in-ear transmitter on here. Okay? So what you did now is you have actually two devices which are capable of balanced connections, but you use an unbalanced cable.
Yeah.
So you lose the strength you have in balanced connection, but it still works, because what just happens is that it shortcuts these two electrical things here, and it works.
Right.
And manufacturer knows that it works.
Okay.
So they sent you the cheap cable here, which is, in my opinion, it is crap. You know, they should send at least a balanced one.
Yeah.
One reason I could imagine why they use this one and not a jack one with balanced is that you could be confused in setting in plugging this one, for example, on your phone's output of your sound card,
Which I did.
which you did
First.
nice, and which of course does not work at all.
No.
Because this one, as you know now, would go out unbalanced stereo, and then you would weirdly mix these two signals into a like unbalanced mono input, which is designed for balanced lines. So this is exactly the confusion which happens on amateurs all the time. So that's why I could imagine they used this one for people not to get confused. This could be a stereo cable, but I mean, you got confused anyway. So
exactly. Just for people to get the full picture. First of all, on the other side of this one is this receiver, and you plug in your headphones here, and then you can put it on your ear. And this cable, plugging it in here and in there, that would just give you one channel. You still don't have the other one, so we would need two. In the package it only came with one, so you would still need to buy another one. So it's a choice you have to make, whether you buy two.
So LD systems, do your homework. If you put cables in your packages, please put the right one, and put one if you sell a stereo system.
Exactly.
I mean, what is this? Anyway, if we look again on how to make it correct, you know that now. You would take a cable like this, which is balanced on both sides, and now try to connect it.
But with this one, not to that system.
Yeah. So you need an adapter. Which one do you need?
I need an adapter. Aha. I need 1, 2. Wait. Yes, 2 is correct. Yes. This. Oh no. Okay. I need.
So can you show it again into the camera, the adapter you used, and the thoughts you were making there?
I have this adapter. And I got a little bit hesitant because I was for some reason thinking of 3 lines here instead of 2 lines, but the 2 lines is exactly what I need, because one of them is grounding, and these 3, one is grounded and 2 signal.
Right.
I got it right. Okay. Whew. So
the thing with this cable and the adapter is you need all the way through the cable these 3 connectors. That is the thing. So if we had an adapter, for example, which had on this side 3 and on the other side 2, which is nonsense, because it just breaks this thing of phase reverting the signal, because it only carries one on here. Then the input stage cannot do his job.
Exactly.
So we have to make sure that it's symmetrical all the way through.
Yeah.
And now you build a nice little adapter which you can use to connect.
Yeah. We would plug this in like this, and then plug this side in like that. And now we are connected to the right channel. So we would need another set in order to connect to for the left channel. I happen to have a cable that has on one side this one, and on the other side directly the other one. So technically this could go in the other side like so, and then we go to channel 2.
Yeah, and ready to go. Good quality sound in your ears.
Right, ready to go.
Yeah.
There was a point you made about using the same type of cables, so we don't get different kind of signals, and so one ear is louder than the other one.
Yeah, you should be a bit careful in mixing different cable types. We have this cable which we built ourselves, and where we know that it's symmetrical. By the way, I'm using symmetrical this from time to time. This means balanced. It's the same. In German, we use this word symmetrisch for balanced, and I sometimes mix that up.
Okay.
So for people don't get confused, if I say symmetrical, I try to avoid it, but sometimes it happens.
Okay.
This means balanced.
Okay.
So if we use this balanced connections here, where we know it's balanced all the way through, and we plug that one in here. One thing to notice, by the way, this is a combo jack. It accepts these kind of connectors, which we can plug in, yeah, and it also accepts the jack type of connectors. There's a little hole inside, and this also possible to connect these. So just to know, it's just the same connection.
Right.
Just doesn't make any difference. So again, we connect this one on the one side. So output from the sound card, input to the transmitter here. And now let's say we don't have another symmetrical cable because the manufacturer just sent us one or whatever, we don't have it.
Exactly.
So this one is in our cable box still. So we think, okay, now let's just use that one for another channel. So now we have one symmetrical channel for a connection for left channel, for example, and this one is asymmetrical, I said again, balanced, and this one is unbalanced.
Right.
So if we use that one for the other channel, we use one balanced connection for the right earphone and one unbalanced for the left one. So it could be possible. It depends a bit on the design, electrical design of stuff. So sometimes it's just the same and it just works, but it can be possible that there is a signal loss on this one. So this one will be quieter than that one. So just don't do it. Use the same cables. Whether it's unbalanced because you don't have it balanced, totally fine. 2 times unbalanced, you have a bit of the limitations we were talking about earlier, but you can do it. It's totally possible. Or you have the professional balanced signal. Then in both cases use the same ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we saw now, sometimes we have limitations in connections because our input stage cannot handle balanced connections, for example, or our output does not have the feature of balanced connections. So sometimes we have an input that accepts balanced connections, a nice USB sound card or something like this, or a mixing desk, but on our output we don't have balanced connection. For example, we want to connect an iPad or a laptop through to a USB sound card or to a mixing desk. In your case, in dance scenario, for example, for playback music to dance to.
Yeah.
So then we would have the situation of unbalanced source going into a balanced input. So how can we do that? Let's look at some cables first. Again. So Ali, you are a cable professional now. Tell me something about this one.
Okay, now I understand it actually. So I hoard cables for no good reasons and I don't know about them. So Paul was very fascinated about my collections of good and bad cables. And now I know that this is a bad cable because on one end it has the 2 audio channels and a ground, but on the other end
it's balanced on that
So it's
one?
balanced, exactly. But on the other end there's only one line and a ground, which means it's just wasted a channel.
No, it's not a channel. It's wasted the possibilities of this cable in carrying balanced signals all the way through.
What he said.
So if you connect a balanced a source with a balanced output on this side, and you connect this into a device which can actually handle balanced inputs, it will just still be unbalanced because here it's not balanced anymore. Okay, so this is a bad cable.
Bad.
It is a cable which works in many situations, but your signal will go from balanced to unbalanced. So this is not what we want.
No.
Another example.
Cable.
Yeah. So another example would be that one. Let's look at this one. It has a mini jack output, which has 3 connectors here, and then which is used most of the cases to carry a stereo signal, although it can also be used as a balance for carrying a balanced signal if the other side is exactly the thing we need for a balanced signal. But what happens here is it goes 2 times balanced.
Right.
But the 2 times balanced is coming from 2 times unbalanced here. So this cable is 2 times unbalanced on this side, going to 2 times balanced here. So Ali, why doesn't this cable not convert the signal into balanced automatically? Because you have unbalanced here and balanced here. So that's a nice cable for going with an unbalanced signal to converting an unbalanced signal into a balanced, no?
But there's not enough input. I mean, there needs to be input for this to have something to balance, or?
What do you need by input?
I mean, like the signal coming in is not balanced. That's what you said. So there is the.
What does that mean? It is not balanced.
It means it hasn't picked it. It only has, from the lines you draw, it only has one of them.
Right.
It doesn't have the opposite one.
That's right.
Right? So if it doesn't have the opposite one, it doesn't matter if this side can accept the opposite one. It's just not there.
That's exactly the point. So we do need the electrical schematic on the output side of things to make it balanced.
Right.
And the cable can do it on this side, but we would need an output which would be a balance, but this would be mono then. This would carry only one signal, but here are coming 2 signals, so this is also just. It works for connecting a laptop or something into 2 balanced input, but it will be 2 times unbalanced here. So this one, it's just unbalanced, although it looks balanced here.
Right.
As I said, these cables work. You could use them, but you have to be aware that it's not professional in any means, and it is unbalanced. I mean, it works, but
I will continue hoarding this one.
Okay, so this leads us to the question: how do we correctly convert unbalanced signals into balanced ones? Because, as I said before, we do have this situation where the output is unbalanced, and we want it to be correctly balanced in our way. And that is, in that case, we would need a DI box, which is a small device. This would be a small device which can do electrically what we need. It has an unbalanced input, which will be just an input where we can plug in our unbalanced source. And then it has a balanced XLR input, which has these 3 types of connectors, this one. And this box is not just an adapter where the cables are wired, but it does this magic, this electrical magic inside the box.
Okay.
So with this adapter box, you come from unbalanced, go through this direct injection DI box, and then it converts in a correct way this unbalanced signal into a balanced one, and then your input sees it correctly balanced. So what you would do now regarding cable length, then trying to keep this unbalanced path as short as possible, and then this one can be pretty long after the direct injection box.
So for example, that would be a great setup for, let's say, a dance studio has a mixer board.
Yeah.
And they want to play music through their laptop.
Yeah, maybe this mixer board is even in another room, you know, because all the audio signals are going through separate rooms and are being combined in one mixing desk behind the bar maybe or somewhere, like 40-50 meters away, cable length. But you want to connect a laptop in this one room, then you would do exactly that one. You would use a short connection unbalanced out of your laptop, go into a DI box, and then go balanced all the way through to your mixer board.
Right. And the same thing if it's I guess if you want to play from your phone, a tablet,
Everything unbalanced.
anything that is unbalanced, you would put in, what's the name of it again?
DI box, direct injection box.
DI box, and have that being then true balanced cables into the mixer board.
We use these kinds of cables on big stages all the time because direct injection, they're always, that's the source of the name also, because we use laptops on the stage or a guitar or something which has an unbalanced output, and then we put it into the direct injection box, and then we go all the way through in our festival situation, as you remember, the hundreds of length to the mixing board. That's exactly the thing it was made for.
Would this be a good cable from the tablet or the laptop into the box?
Yeah, I mean, what does it do? It's carrying a stereo signal here, unbalanced of course. It splits this one into two big jack unbalanced cables.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the cable you need for that situation. You need two DI boxes or a stereo DI box, which has two inputs and two outputs, a left and right.
Yeah.
And because of course on the unbalanced, on the balanced side, then also you need two cables of these. And this splits the 2 times unbalanced, which is in one jack here, combined into 2 separate ones, where you can use a stereo DI box with 2 channels and convert it into 2 times balanced. Perfect cable for that one.
And I happen to have one because I hoard.
But you didn't use it right?
No.
I guess.
Nope.
Okay, so really nice. Now I think you got all the information to use good quality sound with balanced and unbalanced cables. In my point of view, there is one thing missing for you to get really good quality sound without noise. One thing I would like to add regarding to this direct injection, this DI box. This DI box has another feature which is really important, and you can use in all kinds of setups at home, for example, and also in all kinds of setups which are a little bit more on the amateur side than on the professional side. One big problem occurring in these kind of of setups is that you have an input somewhere and you have an output, and you have a device which is your input device and a device which is your output device, and you connect these two through a cable. If both of these devices use electricity to work, then oftentimes you have the problems of so-called ground loops, which you can hear in the audio system in a really loud humming noise, which makes all the time. And this is really annoying. Everyone can hear that. It's really unprofessional and it's disturbing all the way through. So how to get rid of that, and how does that happen in a way? It happens because the electricity lines of both devices have sometimes 2 different electrical potentials. I don't know if that's the correct word in English, but anyway. So the ground is like not the same in a way. You can avoid that oftentimes in connecting these 2 devices just into one electricity slot in the wall. Then they share the same ground information, and then oftentimes it works, but sometimes also this does not work. Problems occur most of the time in this scenario, for example, which we had before, when the mixing desk is in another room and there is a electricity slot in the wall where you put this one, the mixing desk in, and then 2 rooms where your dancing happens. There is another electricity, and these have different electricity quality, so to say. And if you connect these 2, then this ground loop happens because you connect the ground from one pin of these two devices, and they are not the same, and then this humming happens. So what a DI box can do, it features ground lift. So this is a kind of transformer which cuts the ground. There's a little knob on it which you can press, and this just cuts the ground, and then the humming is gone, because the ground is not connected anymore.
I actually had that problem with our old setup, but I didn't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah, just buy a DI box and press this button. DI box, by the way, is about 25 euros if you get a cheap one. This is one thing I'd like to add for DI boxes. Yeah. Other thing I'd like to add is differences in level structure. So maybe we can, you can give me that small mixing desk. I mean, there are smaller ones, but this is, in my world, it's still a small one.
In my world, it's the bigger ones.
So what do we have there? We have like a channel input here, 2 different inputs. You can see here, this one is microphone input and this one is balanced input because it has these 3 input types with an XLR connector. And there's another one here which says bal/unbal. So what that means is you can plug in a balanced signal here. It accepts these balanced signal. It accepts things like this, tapering sleeve with our three connectors. So this is a balanced input, but as it's written here, you can also plug in an unbalanced cable. It also works. But of course, you want balance if possible. Okay, so we have balanced and unbalanced input. And then we have this little thingy here, which is called a gain control. So what you can do here is adjust the input gain, the input signal strength of the signals coming in here into a good working level with this desk. So it's a strong, nice signal, which is not too strong and it's also not too soft, where the mixing desk can work nicely with and puts it out in a good quality outside. Sometimes you do have really strong signals coming in here. For example, a laptop with volume all the way up. This is a really strong signal. So in this case, you have to push this one down so that it's not getting super strong and distorted into the desk. Sometimes you have a really low signal, for example, a microphone, which is just physically a coil moving into a magnet and outputting that signal. There's nothing, no amplification happening in the microphone itself. So it's really, really tiny electricity going through the cable coming in here. And then you have to boost this one up to get the same amount of signal, which the desk can handle nicely. In fact, there are 2 kinds of signal strengths from input stages. One is called line level, and the other one is called microphone level. These are exactly the 2 I was explaining before. Line level would be everything except microphones. Let's exclude acoustic and electric guitars there also, because these are also kind of microphone level. So everything with a strong signal which is already amplified before going into the desk. You can also remember these as all signals where the source needs electricity. When you have electricity plugged in, you can think of the signal will definitely get boosted and amplified before going into the other stage. So all these signals from sources with electricity, for example, smartphones, laptops, all kinds of media players like CD players, DVD players, and everything like this, all these signals do have line level coming in. This is called line level, the strong level. The microphones and the acoustic guitars, where there's only a passive pickup in it, so really tiny bit of electricity going through the cable. Electric guitars, same. They have microphone level, so really low level. One question for you, what about an electric piano?
That would be a line level strong, because it's
amplified.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is really important to know that for not mixing up these things. If you connect a microphone here, you have to adjust that one to be a strong signal. And actually, you can phrase this like converting the microphone level with this pot into a line level. Because what comes out here on the main outs of the desk is line level after that. And here you connect the line level source and then you would go down with that. Why I'm telling this is if you mix up these signal types in a wrong way, then you get either really low volume sound, which you cannot boost anymore, or you get distorted, too loud sound. One example, if we plug in something here, we convert it the right way into line level with this pot, and then we go on the output of this device. This would be our main output of the desk. We would go out into our sound card. One practical example in your scenario would be you have your microphone teaching and for dancing and going into here, and then you have maybe some music going into here. You mix all that through the desk and you put that mix out, and you want to go with this output into your sound card and then go into Zoom or something for teaching. Yeah. What happens here, we mixed our levels nicely in here. It has a good volume output, which is line level here, because this one has an electricity port and it's line level output, so strong output going out here. And then you want to plug that one into your sound card. Maybe you bought a nice sound card here, nice USB sound card to plug that in. And then you think of, oh nice, I just take this input.
Exactly.
And most of the times there is a setting in your sound card where you can choose between these inputs being line level inputs or microphone inputs. Same would be on your mini jack input of your laptop. If you don't have a thing like this, you plug it in directly into input of your laptop. Then there is somewhere in the settings of your system a switch where you can choose line level or microphone level. You have to look for that. It is in your system, sound system settings somewhere, and you have to choose the right one. Because if you choose the wrong one, what happens then, for example, if it's going line out here and you go into your microphone input, this input thinks, oh, I'm getting a really, really, really low signal because there's a microphone plugged in, and then it boosts the signal all the way up for letting it work with a good strong signal. Yeah. But you're already sending in a line level signal with really strong power. So if the system thinks this is microphone input, but you're sending line input, you can keep this one, this amplification knob here all the way down and still get a really, really strong signal. Yeah. And there's this real danger of distorting sound because it's too strong. Yeah. The other way around would be the same. If you have this input thinking that there's a line level coming in, and you're using some weird adapters from balanced plugging into your microphone to unbalanced into this line level input of your sound card, you won't hear virtually much. No. Because the input is thinking that there comes a strong line level signal, but you only plug the microphone in, and you cannot amplify this one.
Amplify it, yeah.
Yeah, so this one is the thing I wanted to state also. Be careful what signal strength your input stage wanting to see, and look after what your source is sending. Yeah. And look that this matches.
It's funny, I'm smiling because I had exactly those problems and I didn't know why, because I think what I'm realizing is for example, when it's about plugging in computer stuff, if the cable fits, is the right cable, is the right plug and so on. So you know, as long as if the cable fits, you know you're doing something right. But in sound, what I'm getting now, it's not the case. Yeah. Like the cable might fit, the plug might, you can get it in the plug, and then there might even be a signal coming through.
Yeah, sure, it works, but it's just crap.
But exactly, and I never figured out why that was happening.
And you see that if the ranges of these knobs here that you have, and the range of the volume sliders everywhere, if that's in a nice usable range, probably you did everything correct. But if that's not in a usable range and you going like cranking this all the way up with your volume and still it's not loud in any way, or if you get a really strong signal and you have to go down with this to the minimum for getting something which is not making your head explode, then you know that something must be wrong. Wow. Okay, so now that we know about these different input level strength, and we have line level input, which is strong signal, and we have microphone input, which is a rather weak signal, let's just look at some devices and the input stages of these devices and how to adapt levels so that they are matching to the needs of the devices. So let's start with this USB sound card you were seeing before. And this one is a great example because it features two microphone inputs in the front. And every time we have a microphone input, the input stage features a gain knob, which is this one. And this one sets the gain of the incoming microphone level input so that it matches the needs of the device afterwards, and this would be line level. So it kind of converts low level microphone input into line level input. You can kind of phrase it like this. Again, every microphone input has this gain knob to boost the gain. So 2 microphone inputs on this one, each one with a gain control. And then on the back side we have 4 more inputs, which are labeled here as line inputs. And these are just jack inputs. They accept balanced jack cables. I don't have to show that again. You saw it several times in this video. So as you see here, there is no gain control on this one, and that's why line inputs all the time, I mean most of the time, but almost all the time, are just gain fixed. So you are not able to set the gain on these because it is just thinking there's a high level coming in, and then it accepts this, and there's no way to change that. And that means if you get the great idea to connect 4 microphones into this sound card, and you say, okay, 2 microphones are connected here, and I just set the gain accordingly, and then I got 2 more microphones, nice, I can use the 2 inputs which I have here, and I just connect them with a kind of not so nice adapter, then we will see that the signal coming into the 2 microphone inputs is really strong. I mean, we can adjust it here to be strong. But the signal coming from the microphone coming into this line inputs is really, really weak. It's really low and thin sounding, because this line input thinks there's coming really strong, nice signal in, but there's only coming a weak signal in from the microphone. Right. So this does not work. So we should buy a sound card with 4 microphone inputs then, if we want.
Well, if we stay on this, I actually once did the structure where I put the microphone in here, and I put music in the second one of the microphone.
Yeah, that's a great question. This would be the other way around. How to connect a line level input into a microphone input. Exactly. First of all, think of a DI box then.
Yeah.
Because it's unbalanced, you know, if you put your music to an XLR, which is balanced input. By the way, these are also balanced, as I said. But if you want an unbalanced signal going into a balanced input, then you should use a DI box to convert that correctly, as we stated before. And then we got a line level input coming through our XLR cable, and we want to connect that into a microphone input. This is also kind of wrong matching, because the microphone input wants to see a low level input, but it sees a really strong level input. Yeah. But you have these knobs here, these gain controls. You can set them all the way down, and it's important to know that all the way down is not off. It's just amplification. So when you set them all the way down, it kind of, they are designed most of the time that it kind of matches line level. So you can just push them all the way down. You see that on your meters of the sound card, whether it's getting red or something like this. Most of the time this just works. Okay. And it's matching levels nicely, and it works. Okay. There's another thing which would be more the way it is designed for. When using a DI box, on the DI box you have another switch which can dip the level of signal coming into. This is exactly for this. Normally when you use unbalanced signals and convert them to balanced signals, and then for example sending them into a mixing desk or somewhere, on professional equipment you only have balanced microphone level inputs. You don't have these line level inputs, because in professional world you don't need them, because line level input is most of the time unbalanced and short cables, and you want long cables and professional inputs, so you just have these microphone balanced inputs with these gain controls. And for that, if you want to connect a strong line level signal through a DI box, making it balanced to a professional audio equipment input, which is a microphone input with a gain control, then you can just use these dip switches on the DI box to push down the volume so it matches the input level which the microphone inputs wants to see, and then you can just also go up here and have a little bit more range to play with for adjusting the level coming into the source.
So for example, laptop, tablets, even phones maybe send out strong line signals. So if you're connecting any of those things to your DI box or to the sound card and so on, you would need to ideally bring down the gain. You want to do a reverse gain, so to say. Yeah. And
to
the
bring
DI
it down,
box,
bring down the gain.
Yeah. DI box has one of those features, minus 10, 20 or 30 decibel.
Yeah, it has a switch. You can use that switch, that would be nice. Then you're seeing a much lower level on this microphone input, which the microphone input is happy with, and then you can just set it to a normal value.
Yeah.
If you don't have the iBox featuring that switch, or if you even don't use the iBox and go unbalanced here, which is not the best way but works, then you can also just go down with that one.
Okay.
What is not working is, again, to recapture, is plugging a microphone in here, because there is no way to boost the gain.
Yeah. But would it be okay if I would plug my laptop in or
yes,
tablet
that would
in
be
here,
perfect match.
and then microphone on the other side?
Yeah, that would be
Because
perfect.
that's a line to line.
Yeah.
It expects a line in signal and it gets a line signal, and the microphone expects a microphone signal and it gets a microphone signal. Like,
yes, but one thing to notice: if you're running long cable long cables, you need to go balanced, and there is no way without a DI box to go balanced.
From a laptop to exactly.
Yeah, and when you are balanced out of the DI box, from this example, you have a balanced output strong signal, and then you can go from the DI box directly in here, and that would match perfectly from the level. You don't need a gain control because it just matches.
Okay.
Without the dip switch.
Yeah.
Because this wants to see strong line level.
Exactly.
And if you don't have these line level inputs, but only these one, then you have to press the dip switch.
Awesome.
Just for short, for the mixing desks, same information, just the same thing. If we go balanced in, both of these can accept balanced inputs, as we said. If we use this one, the microphone input, here is our gain control for the microphone input.
Yeah.
If we use this one, that one is just disabled. It just does nothing.
Okay.
Because balanced line input is fixed level again. So on this one, you can decide whether you want to go fixed input here or whether you want to use the microphone input. Both is possible.
Great. This was awesome information. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think
Hope I could help.
as a dance
some
teacher, studio owner, or if you have small festivals, if you do large festivals, you get a sound engineer. But if you do a small festival yourself for a dance weekend or something like that, I think this, if I had this information before, I would not hoard the wrong cables but the correct cables and have a lot less frustrating moments. Thank you so much, Paul.
Yeah, thanks a lot. If you have any questions, I think Ali would try to answer them.
Yes, or I'll come back to you and relay that information.
Well, you are a professional
back to you.
All of you should have good quality sound now.